Ancient Egypt, a land of pharaohs and pyramids. It is a civilization steeped in tradition, ruled by gods and kings. Yet one pharaoh dared to challenge the very fabric of this ancient world. His name was Akhenaten, and his story is one of radical change, fierce opposition, and ultimately, a mysterious disappearance that has puzzled historians for centuries. Akhenaten's reign was a turning point in Egyptian history, marked by a dramatic shift in religious beliefs and a struggle for power that would have lasting consequences. Akhenaten's story is not just about the past, it is a tale that continues to unfold in our time. New discoveries are constantly reshaping our understanding of this enigmatic ruler and his era. Join us as we delve into the mysteries of Akhenaten's reign, exploring the life and death of a pharaoh who dared to challenge the gods themselves. The reign of Akhenaten, originally named Amenhotep IV, began like that of any other pharaoh. He inherited a powerful and wealthy kingdom stretching from the banks of the Nile to the distant reaches of Nubia. Yet, Akhenaten was destined to chart a different course, one that would shake the very foundations of Egyptian society. His story is a reminder that even in the most ancient civilizations, the seeds of revolution can be sown, and the quest for truth can lead down unexpected paths. Akhenaten's reign was marked by a radical departure from traditional Egyptian polytheism. He introduced a new monotheistic religion centered on the worship of Aten, the sun disk. This shift from a pantheon of gods to a single all-encompassing deity was unprecedented in Egyptian history. Akhenaten declared Aten to be the sole creator and sustainer of life, the ultimate source of power and authority in the universe. This new religious doctrine was more than just a theological shift, it was a complete transformation of Egyptian society. Akhenaten's reforms touched every aspect of life, from art and architecture to politics and social structure. He commissioned new temples dedicated to Aten, with open roofs to allow the sun's rays to penetrate the sacred space. Images of the pharaoh and his family replaced traditional depictions of gods and goddesses. Akhenaten's emphasis on Aten as the sole deity led him to suppress the worship of all other gods, including Amun, the most powerful god in the traditional Egyptian pantheon. This decision had significant ramifications, particularly for the powerful priesthood of Amun, who saw their influence and wealth diminish under Akhenaten's rule. The pharaoh's actions created a rift between the throne and the temple, setting the stage for a power struggle that would have lasting consequences. Akhenaten's religious reforms were met with resistance from the outset. The priesthood, long accustomed to their privileged position, saw the pharaoh's actions as a direct threat to their authority. They resented the elevation of Aten above all other gods, viewing it as an affront to their traditional beliefs and a challenge to their power base. The priesthood, with their vast resources and influence over the populace, became a formidable obstacle to Akhenaten's reforms. The common people too were slow to embrace the new religion. For centuries they had worshipped a multitude of gods, each associated with specific aspects of daily life. The sudden shift to a single, abstract deity like Aten was confusing and unsettling. The pharaoh's attempts to impose his beliefs from above, coupled with the suppression of traditional religious practices, created a climate of fear and resentment. Akhenaten's response to this growing opposition was to further isolate himself and his court. He established a new capital city at Amarna, a remote site in Middle Egypt, dedicated entirely to the worship of Aten. Here, surrounded by his loyal followers, Akhenaten sought to create a utopian society based on his new religious principles. However, this isolation only served to exacerbate the problems facing his reign. By distancing himself from the traditional centers of power, Akhenaten weakened his grip on the kingdom and allowed his enemies to gather strength. The circumstances surrounding Akhenaten's death and the end of his reign remain shrouded in mystery. After 17 years of rule, he vanished from historical records, leaving behind a legacy as perplexing as it was profound. Theories abound regarding his demise, ranging from assassination at the hands of disgruntled priests or political rivals, to a more mundane end from illness or disease. Some scholars speculate that Akhenaten's radical reforms and the upheaval they caused led to a palace coup, removing him from power and ultimately ending his life. Adding to the enigma, Akhenaten's tomb in Amarna was found empty. This discovery fueled speculation that he might have been secretly buried elsewhere, perhaps in a hidden chamber within his city, or at an unknown location, yet to be discovered. The lack of a definitive burial site has made it difficult for historians to determine the exact cause of his death, and the events that transpired in the final days of his reign. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, it is clear that Akhenaten's reign ended abruptly. His successors, including Tutankhamun and later Horemheb, wasted no time in dismantling his legacy. They systematically erased his name from monuments and inscriptions, destroyed his temples, and attempted to wipe out all traces of his religious reforms. It was as if they were trying to erase him from history altogether, condemning him to the status of a heretic king.